Dopest podcast.
MW. We back up in this thing. You can't roll with us if your last name don't got no loyalty. Podcast party poppin', but you already knew. I've been rolling with these folks. This that Monday night crew. Millennials versus the world like. Millennials versus the world like you. Millennials versus the world like. Millennials versus the world like you. Millennials versus the world. Millennials versus the world like you. Millennials versus the world like. Millennials versus the world like you.
Yo, what's happening, good people? Welcome back to another segment of the Monday Night Crew. It's your boy K. Mims, man. I got my bros Louis B and J Dub with me. The only lady of the show tonight. We got Asia with us, man. What up, family? How y'all feeling, man?
What up?
You know what I'm saying? If you don't already know, next Saturday, we making our first stop, man, the podcast party tour in DC. Come pull up on us, man. We are officially sponsored by Remy Martin, man. Get your tickets. Guaranteed seating is almost gone. General admission is still flowing, man. Tap in, man. So, man, we're gonna get right into the news today, man. We're gonna get right into the social news today. All right, so if you have been sleeping under a rock, you will not know, but we're going to start with Diddy, man. So first, you know, the video came out of what happened in the hotel. I'm not going to run too far into that, man. You know, first, I want to acknowledge, you know, domestic violence is not cool. You know, prayers to anybody that's going through it, you know, major prayers for that. It's unfortunate that things like that happen, man. I'm not going to go deep into the actual video itself. If you want to go look it up, you can. But I want to ask the crew and get y'all opinion on him apologizing. What's y'all thoughts on the apology? I know it was warranted, but like, what's y'all thoughts on everything that happened before the video dropped and now he's on screen, on camera, on IG apologizing? What y'all think of that? What's y'all thoughts on that? Did y'all watch the whole apology or at least get clips of it?
Yeah, I definitely watched the apology. Yeah.
What y'all think, bro?
Well, first off, you saying running to the topic and he ran down the hallway. That was, I think you were trying to do something there.
No, I was.
You know what I'm saying?
But you are wild, bro.
I didn't know, but I felt like the apology was, he had to do that. I don't think it was sincere at all. I think it was very scripted. And bro, for him saying like he was in a low place, I do understand people with a lot of money do go through a lot of mental issues as well. But I don't think that space had anything to do with that. That was just who you were as a person.
I just hate the fact that, and this is my opinion, you know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking nobody where they are down, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't get why, if you know, so like, to me, my opinion, you had to know that video was somewhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the things you were saying before it came out was like you were completely innocent. You knew nothing of this and saying all that. Like, that's the different approach that I would have took knowing that this is out there. You know what I'm saying? Because at one point in time, I'm not going to say the methods, but you had to have concealed that one way or the other, via money, via whatever, power, whatever. You had to conceal that. So when the lawsuit actually came out, and how I didn't read the whole thing, but how detailed it was, you know, it kind of hard to think that it wasn't the truth. B, like, what can you really say when you know this, dog, and you acted innocent until it came out? Like, so, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to wish anything bad on anybody. You know what I mean? I'm not the judicial system, but I'm like, bro, I get the apology, but like, you low-key said you was innocent before all this, knowing that was out there. So it's kind of like, come on, man. You know, I think power does weird things, bro. I think Hollywood is a super weird place. I don't know if I ever want to be that level of anything, but it's like, bro, you know how powerful you have to feel like you are to do that, know it's somewhere, and still move the way you was moving and say the things you were saying. You know, I'm glad that one thing I was happy about is that a lot of people went back and apologized to Cassie, who was kind of challenging if it was the truth or not. So I'm glad that a lot of people got that out the way. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I stand with it. Like, I get you had to apologize, but like, bro, you knew that video was out there before we even got to this point, man. You could have moved a little differently knowing that. You know, you should have never done it at all, but like, you knew that was out there. That's my spill on it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, my thing is that I think that he really feels that because of who he is and all the things, I think that he was like, all right, so what if there's a video? They've been making allegations against me for years about worse things. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have concrete proof of that. So I think that it might be out there, right? And I do think that when pride is blinding, you know what I'm saying? When you're so powerful, it is blinding. You really do think that you will get away with anything. And my thing is like, same thing that you said, Keenan, like, it's like you weren't talking about those mental issues when you was claiming to be innocent. So now all of a sudden you got mental issues? You didn't know you had those beforehand? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's certain things that it's like, okay, now you want to say it, now it's coming out. And even with that, there is absolutely positively no justification for that at all, right? Like, even with folks that do have mental health challenges and things like that, a lot of times there still is a level of remorse that people have after the fact. He did not have an ounce of remorse, right? And so yeah, I am glad that people did apologize to Cassie. You know, one of the things too, I think, is like, and I guess that's why I didn't listen to the whole apology, to be honest, because for me it was like, dude, if we found out about Jay-Z and Solange with Beyonce in the middle in the elevator, sir, we was definitely gonna find out about whatever dirt you got. Like, come on. Like, for me, it was just like, you're an idiot, bro. But yeah, so for me, it was just like, he said, because it was getting too hot. You know, it was like he had to say something. Because he didn't say anything when the lawsuit first came about, right? And everybody was commenting on how fast it, like, all the things. He never said anything, but at this point, he had to say something.
For sure. What's your thoughts, Lewis?
Man, I think it was disingenuous for all the reasons you guys mentioned. He's always exhibited this type of predator behavior. You know, when you watch him making the band and all these other things, like, he's always exhibited those type of behavior. What disturbed me the most is, man, I have a daughter, you know what I mean? And like, he kicked that woman twice, you know what I'm saying? And that to not only the initial act of hitting her, but to kick her, that just shows that he has a complex of just superiority, I guess, and entitlement. And I've always heard people, when they comment about him, talk about how money makes you more of what you are, and it's dangerous if you can keep getting away with stuff. And there's always been kind of things looming around him, right? And I just don't believe anything that he says. I think he's one of those people who have gotten away with a lot. And another thing I will say, though, he's not the only one. There are plenty of people who don't look like us or him that are just as egregious.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not the only one. I think anyone with any position of power and influence, you're going to have some type of history behind it. But I think to the original question, as far as his apology, I mean, even if it is sincere, he deserves whatever he's got coming to him, straight up.
For sure. And man, you know, back to the complex thing, bro. It take another level of something to treat another person that way, bro. Like, let alone somebody you claim you love. That's different, man. That's different. And it's like, and I'm gonna just say it's different, man. It's different. Is there any last thoughts on Diddy apologizing? We ain't really got to get super deep in the video, but is there any thoughts on Diddy apologizing? Any last thoughts on that?
I'm just tired of seeing our people, you know, like,
decline.
It's like, who's next? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
bro, it just sucks, man.
I'm gonna go here with it, like, and let me please be very clear. I'm not condoning anything that has happened, anything like that. But I was shooting an episode yesterday about where we're at as a community. That those other people that go through that, Lewis, they have a little bit more stick with each other while it's happening than we had. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that those people should not be punished. I'm not saying it should be covered. I'm not saying any of that. But I think the issue is, man, it's like, you know, it's wrong all the way around. But the reason why you see one side gets, you know, exposed so much more, or, you know, shown a lot more, is because, like, once we have it, we gonna go there about it all over the place. I don't think you always see that in other communities, bro. And it's tough because right is right and wrong is wrong, but we don't live in a black and white world. It's almost more gray than anything. You know what I mean? So that's tough. That's tough. But I agree with you, though, bro. It's like all our pillars that we knew coming up are kind of like either dying out or going to jail, bro. For real, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can y'all
Bump,
separate?
bump, bump.
Huh?
Bump, bump, bump will never be the same.
Ah, oh my God. Hey, next one, bro. Yo, leave it to Lewis, bro.
R.
Leave it
Kelly
to
wrote
Lewis.
that one, by the way. That's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question. Can you remove the person from the music?
You have to.
Separate the music from the person?
You got to, man.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So next, man, on Club Shay Shay, we had Kel Mitchell tap in on Club Shay Shay. He dropped some super crazy news, man. We're gonna get into a video really quickly about it, and then we are going to give our opinion.
Other things, and it just got to a point. She had gotten pregnant, other things, and it just got to a point.
She had gotten pregnant again?
Yeah.
While y'all were together?
Yeah.
And it wasn't you?
Not with me.
Ah, come on,
No,
Kel.
It wasn't me. It wasn't.
And you stuck around?
Yeah, I stuck around.
What?
But here's the thing. These were things that were being revealed. You know.
She
throughout the
telling you
process.
this?
No.
How did you find?
Bruh. So let's start with like let's just get raw honest thoughts for a second, bro. I'm gonna be real, bro. Jeezy. Yeah. Hey, Jay, you take it away, bro. I'm gonna get. You know what, Jay?
I was about to give you some clickbait.
Oh, go ahead, Lou.
Go ahead, Louis. Go ahead, Louis.
Boy, you know that thing was good, boy.
The problem is, you know that, he know that, and somebody else know that.
And somebody else know that, boy, because everybody was getting that thing was good.
Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way, bro. It's one thing to cheat twice. It's another thing to get pregnant twice, bro. There's no way. Like, let's be real. 9 times out of 10, the male ego is not going to allow one pregnancy with your wife to end things. But you gonna go and get 2, my guy? I think he had to do something where he had to stay. He had to have done something where he had to stay through that. You know what I mean? Like, you must have been feeling guilt. 2, Lewis. Forget 1.
Mm-hmm.
Anything's possible. We can get through that. Like Kevin Garnett. Anything's possible. But when you go to 2, nah, bro, we can't do it. We not doing that, bro. Like,
maybe it was that good, Keenan.
To who?
To him and everybody else.
Yeah,
they was I was about to say something crazy.
Hey, they was boy. Hey, Lewis, they was parking in that garage.
They were parking in there, boy.
Boy, they were parking in that garage.
I hate y'all, bro. I hate y'all. Hey,
that was serious.
What you think, Asia?
I think a couple things. I think he has a secret. Yeah, I'm with you, Kim. I think he has a I think he got something that he can't get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Only because, like, what else could it be? Like on the real, like, could y'all male ego handle that not happening once but twice? And the way that he said it so casually too. Like, if you notice how he said it too, it was like, yeah, I stayed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I stayed. You know, like he said it without any type of anything. Like, he got something. But the second thing I thought, I'm actually glad. I'll tell you why. Because women do this. No, for real. Not being funny, but because women do this, right? Like, women stay with men that have cheated on them and that have had other children, right? And then the conversation looks a lot different, and we feel that it only happens and only women are quote unquote dumb enough to stay, right? I've heard that conversation a number of times. So I'm actually, selfishly speaking, I'm actually relieved that we're seeing it with a man, for real. Just because I think it's like, we can't say it's a one-sided conversation. Men are that dumb too. Like, men are literally that dumb too.
So Asia, can I ask a question? Now I gotta ask a question.
Sure.
Like, you don't think it does something when the mistake you made isn't not calling the kid the mistake, saying the action that you did to create the kid. When the mistake you made is as an in-house reminder all the time for the other person, not for you, because you're not feeling like it's a mistake. That's your child. But for the other, I'm asking straight up. Do you feel like it's not a difference though? Like, and forget, like, I'm sorry, I cannot help the fact that, you know, women bear children, right? So if a wife was to get pregnant, that child would be in the house while she's pregnant and when she has them. Versus if a guy does it, you know, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying she can't feel how she feel, but that reminder's not there every day, day in and day out. You don't think that's you don't think that's very different than how that gets handled though?
No, I do think it's different. But if you ask me, I think it's even worse, like that he stayed, because it's like you now have to watch your wife. Like, let's be clear, you had to watch your wife go through pregnancy twice.
Crazy.
Y'all, like, you had to literally deal with her cravings, deal with her mood swings, deal with her belly growing, knowing that the children at two different times for 9 months apiece were not yours. That sounds more idiotic to me because you dealt with that twice.
That's facts.
I'm just saying that I do think there's a difference. You're right, Keenan. I think it's dumber for a man to stay.
All right, I'm just saying. Okay, all right. Well, Jay, I ain't get your thoughts, Brody. What's your thoughts, Jay?
A few things. Number one, I agree with definitely what Lewis and Asia was saying for sure. It was a clip in that interview where he said, I think he tracked her down because she didn't come home, and he met her at a hotel and saw the guy coming down. He recognized the guy, and then he went back upstairs. Like, they both walked up there together, and then went in the room, surprised her, and was like, oh, okay, so this is what we're on. And then walked out of the room, right? That's mind-blowing, number one. Number two for me is, I don't care what anybody says. The only reason why that man stayed through all of that is because she has some physical evidence that can destroy that man. I don't know what it is. I don't know who he was involved with or what it was, but she knew that and played upon that, bro. You're not sticking around to have, like you said, going through pregnancy cravings. You think I'm about to get up and go get you some damn Taco Bell for the next person, kid? Man,
not the Taco Bell, not the chicken quesadilla.
You better drink that water. You got me fucked up.
Hey.
Ain't no way.
I love hearing Jay say that.
Yeah, hey, because he means it. He means it. He means it.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's the conviction.
You better call Carlos.
Yes. Hey, but think about it. Think about you telling your lady to call another dude, bro. You ain't doing that.
That ain't my lady.
Come on,
that's
bro.
Our lady.
I got a question.
We need to all pitch in together.
Nah, bro. I got a question. That same scenario, Jay. If he recognized old buddy, but old buddy didn't know him, does it change what happened? Like, bro,
you can guarantee they knew each other because he said in the interview, like, I seen old buddy saw me. But then the thing that got me was he said, nah, I told myself, like, nah, I don't want to get violent. It's not. I don't know what person was not thinking about violence in that moment. I mean, I'm not saying that you got to think very clearly, but you see the guy that's coming down the steps and you say, hey, let's go back up there together. Then he said, we dapped each other up. Then I left. Then I thought about it and went back, and then police were called. What?
Yeah.
Something's not adding up.
Yeah, bro. I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I'm sorry. We got two comments, man. I'm not even. Okay. So my bad. F1 said true. My apologies, F1. I'm not sure. Drea said Kel's wife responded and said in the interview she caught Kel with another man.
She said that. Yeah, she said that.
Ammo.
Sheesh. So if she said it out loud, yeah, nah, bro. That's just dumb.
Make sense of why he stayed.
I mean, it made sense then. I hope they're not together anymore now, though. Correct?
No, he's remarried and moved on.
Hold on, wait, Lewis. He's remarried.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. That's deep. Ooh.
So we gonna ask you the one more hot topic we got.
Because I know his wife probably thinking like, well, shit, I could take him through the ringer too. I mean, ain't like he's gonna go nowhere.
Come on, Jay. That's tough, man. This is the thing, though. I will say this. You don't know what you would, do when you get in things, right? I just think the repeated mistake of something of that magnitude, bro, is different if the first time, okay, I caught you, second time you mess around and got knocked up, but like you went and robbed the bank, got caught, did 5 years and went right back to the same bank in the same way. Like that's bro, you don't respect the person you do that to. I'm sorry, you just don't. There's no way. You don't
even respect it, even wrap it up. That's the more alarming part. You just out here just not caring about not only the pregnancy aspect of it, but the STD aspect, like the different things that could come about this. that is the most selfish thing you could do.
That's insane, bro. That's insane. So in the Twitter world this week, also shared by my good brother Lewis, man, we had Keke Palmer tweet this. She said, "What's worse, being cheated on or never knowing that you were cheated on? Which one is worse in you all's opinion? What's worse, being cheated on or never knowing that you were cheated on? What is worse?"
I think never knowing. I think never knowing if everyone else knows.
That's a good one.
Hold on, so Lewis, let me. Okay, so before we keep getting, I like that. So under that same logic, right? Earth 99. Does that mean you are more willing to work out issues that everybody else does not know about?
Hell no, I look stupid.
No, I said that everybody else does not know about. So, like, it say
what you mean?
Happen, but nobody knows. You were told, but nobody else knows. Are you more likely to work through that versus everybody knowing and it happening?
You know what? Truthfully, probably so. Yeah, probably so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Drea said never knowing. Never knowing. I'm gonna be real. How would that bother? How would that bother me though? Like that can't be worse. I don't know. Like, why does it matter? Like, I can't care about something I don't know, even if other people know. That's like if somebody's talking trash behind your back, but they.
And it's saying never know isn't like you will never find out, or like for a long period of time you didn't know, and then it just came up.
Let's go with the second one. I think the second one is a better conversation.
Yeah, because I feel like the never knowing is just like, oh, okay, you just never knew. But
hey, Lewis, can I ask you a question, bro? I'm sorry, you got me stuck on this. Why would it matter if everybody else knew?
For the same reasons we talking about Kel.
So, like, if everybody else knew and had knowledge of it, that would bother you more than. But if they're not saying anything,
it's hard because now I feel like I can think rationally without the influence of public opinion, right? I can make a decision rationally, well thought out, because if you know, or my brother knows, or y'all know, y'all are going to influence my response, whether I believe it to be the case or not. You guys are going to influence my response. But if it's just me, I can live with whatever choice I make, and the only person that's going to be around to judge me is me. Right now, it's like it is what it is. I made it solely off my own merit. So I feel like when the world knows, there is a lot of influence. Hell, the woman we talking about ain't with her baby father anymore. But if he would have just sent that to her in a text, they'd probably still be together, right? Yeah. Because of what he said at that show. So when you open it up for public consumption or opinion, it changes and it shifts the experience of it.
Very true.
Okay, Asia, Jay.
Yeah.
Asia, I'll let Asia go.
I'm conflicted. I think
because
I'm with Lewis on this, right? As far as I do think that there's a difference if everyone knows versus not, right? I do think that there's a difference there. And I also think when you switched it up on me, Kenan, because when you said like at first you don't know for like 10 years and then you find out after, I think that's so much worse. I think that's so much worse. And it's only because not only because, but I think about how things are in a relationship, right? Like you do certain things, you evolve, you go through arguments, you forgive each other, all the things. And then all the while for me, I would be wondering like, okay, were you doing this stuff so that I didn't find out? Was it genuine? At what point were you sorry? Like what actions were you doing because you were sorry? What actions were you doing because you love me? Why didn't you tell me for 10 years? And I think it'll be how I find out. So like, it's like, do I find out from like other people that have known? Do I find out from you? Because you'd have met Jesus and then he was like, Jesus told me I got to tell you now. It's so much nuance. It's so much nuance.
Asia, what's your preference of how you would like to? How would you like to? Obviously, you wouldn't want it to happen, but how would you like to find out?
He better tell me.
That's tough, man. What? Okay, I'm sorry. I just inquire minds like to know what would
Good luck with that, Asia.
like what would that like what he already messed up. Okay, we get it. What brownie points would that give him further? Because he told you.
None. He'll be at peace with Jesus. There's no brownie.
Ah, man.
Like,
Man.
Oh,
I hope your future boy. I hope Asia's future boyfriend is watching this.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so too. Get right with the Lord. But on a serious tip, because there are no brownie points, because it's like it was your responsibility to be honest with me. Especially if we're married. If we're married and we're under covenant, like, you have a responsibility to be honest with your partner. And so for me, that's why there are no brownie points. You don't get a brownie point for your responsibility. We don't praise parents for feeding their children. It's
Right.
their responsibility to do so. So for me, no, there is no brownie points, but it would be against them, I think, if I then found out from someone else.
Asia making us all be mature. She's
Yeah.
right.
She is right.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I just think there's no way. Like, once you messed up, bro, you might as well just leave and act like it's her.
What? What? There's no way you're serious. What?
You might as well just leave and act like she did something wrong, bro. Take it to the grave, man.
Just take a break. That's how you
Yeah,
do it.
like, this ain't working for me no more. Like, you're not communicating well. I need time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, make it look good, bro. Don't. Nah, hey, man, if y'all listening to this,
That's
not.
crazy.
I repeat, do not self-incriminate, man. Stevie J.
Hell no! Don't ever do that.
Yeah. Hey, look.
That's
Hey,
crazy too.
hey,
Y'all don't love black women. No, y'all are anti-black women.
Oh, here we go. Amanda Seals.
Hey, show over.
Hey, I didn't know we had Amanda Seals on here, Keenan.
Hey, look. So F4. Hey, look. So we got a comment. F4 says, still never knowing, even after knowing lie or not, it still doesn't take away from the happiness I felt. It's more about living in the moment. So how does that hurt cause you to question the past? I mean, because I think at some point you feel betrayed that you let that this person went this long time in allowing, knowing that I did this to you, I allowed you to think otherwise. It's like that thing where we think sometimes you lie to people to protect them. Are you, like, you know what I mean? After a while, and I'll say this, and I'll put a little caveat in there, right? Especially if it's something that I wanted to do, didn't really come off as a mistake. I did something that I was intentional about. I created this over here. I did this said thing. And then you never know. That's a whole nother ball game. But I had too much fun one night and I went and did something. I can't make a decision. You know, I did something one night that I need to come clean about because I feel terrible about it.
Right.
F1, I appreciate you tapping in. I just think that's dangerous. Like, because in reality, I'm not really returning the love that you feel. What's y'all thoughts on the comment? Asia, like, bro, Asia, like, gutter with it, boy.
Yeah. First of all, just to throw that out there, Asia's next boyfriend needs to be a Catholic priest, because he needs to be invested in the Lord. Just want to go ahead and put it out there. Honestly, I the comment to me, I kind of agree with what you're saying, Keenan. For me, it would be more so like you intentionally wanted to do something, you did it, and then you held out purposely. And then I will also feel not only betrayed, but you just feel like a bozo. I mean, you just feel like all the times we laugh and enjoy, it's like you start to reminisce and think like, well, damn, like, okay, were you happy in this moment? Like, well, what caused this to happen? And all of these things start going through your mind. And then you realize 10 years that you've been the happy one, but how do you know that person was happy? Because obviously they stepped out. So how do you, what made them bring that happiness back to you? That they had a one night stand or maybe an affair? You know,
110%, bro.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Do not self-incriminate.
Never.
That's crazy. Never. That's crazy, son.
Hey, Keenan said.
Can I just say this to that statement y'all keep making? I just think it's wild to say that after we just had a whole conversation. It's not the same thing. But then we talk about people like Diddy that did not self-incriminate. And then y'all see, and once again, not the same situation, but like, And here y'all go, oh yeah, like how can
Time
you
out.
say this?
There's a
before and
difference.
after in the
There, hold on, wait.
video?
There's a difference. No, if you are being accused of something that you did, right, and you own it, it's different. But no one's going to voluntarily tell you that they made that type of mistake. It's a different situation, right?
I'm,
He was accused of something and things that he did, right, and he denied it. But if you are, and this is just me, this now I'm speaking on behalf of myself. If I did something, right, and it's brought to light, then I have to own it. Then I feel like it's my responsibility to own it. But I'm not voluntarily telling anything. That's crazy.
AJ, I'm gonna go in another route. I was just joking. That I was just playing. I'm just playing. Hey, look, I wasn't serious. Yes, sir. When he gone, I'll be talking again. All right. All right. So everyone is still tapping in. Sometimes pain can cause us to reshape our experiences to fit our current narrative, while we are just to feel how we feel. What does carrying those feelings result in? Secondly, and what should you do to escape those negative emotions? I think it's just betrayal, yo. Like you can't build anything on a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like all trolling aside, like you can't build anything on a lie. And let me acknowledge this. I truly do understand where you're saying, like, basically, I'm going to enjoy the happy times. This didn't happen. I'm gonna keep my memories and walk this way. But it would be hard from a human aspect to think that you would get that type of information later and not question every moment that you saying you'll sit on. Like all those moments that you had with this person when they come out and say, yeah, I just got finished kissing her in the mouth right before I kissed you in the mouth. That kiss ain't gonna feel the same no more. It's just not.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. All right. So, man, next we have some video reactions. Our next segment is video. All right. So what we have now, man, y'all know recently we talked about on a different episode where Tia, and tell me Tia's ex-husband's name.
I'm not
Corey?
sure, but
Corey.
Corey.
Hey,
So she recently posted this video on social media, and let's see how people are feeling
Hey,
about it.
before you get into the video, can we ask you where you got your sounds from?
Canva, they locked in there. It's called copyright.
Copyright. Okay. We just wanted to know. Somebody told me to ask that question.
I got it from City Trends. Where you got that shirt?
He's covered in tattoos. Where? He has an accent. He has chicken legs. Where? He's covered in tattoos. Where? He has an accent.
Where?
He has long hair.
Ooh, where?
He's not famous. Where? He has a nose ring.
Where?
He's trash.
Where?
He's a bad boy.
Where?
All right, so this is my question, y'all. We know what's going on. Appreciate everybody tapping in right now. Thank you all, man. Hit a like, subscribe if you have not. Appreciate everybody that's tapping in with us. But is this trollish to her ex-husband, or y'all think she's just having a good time and sharing it? Because like we should. So the caption was guilty pleasure. What's yours? I'm not saying people don't got them. Why my lady I just broke up with got to be the one saying all these things? That made me feel like you've been feeling that way for a long time. The ink ain't even dry yet. Why we got to be out here like that? What's y'all thoughts on that? Oh, y'all lady can't be out there.
The ink is still dry either way. She's just having fun. It don't matter. It's dry. It's dry.
Yeah.
She's having fun.
Right.
So okay, so let me ask you this. Does it matter how somebody move? Not saying that she would post things like this while she was actually in the marriage, right? But do y'all think that this got a little troll to it? Like, come on, man. We saw the handshake. I don't know what to do. Obviously, out of the two people in the world, we know they know who's feeling what. And then you're gonna back it up by putting on the internet what type of guilty pleasures you have, and it's like 10 things that I never had. Like, come on now. Like, that's not cool. That's not Louis. I see what that face means. Tell me what you mean, bro.
Bro, just she gotta mean. I don't see nothing. I don't think it's trolling. I mean, she's a single woman and she's using social media as a means to deal with that transition into being a single woman. I don't think it's trolling at all.
Jay?
I agree with Lewis. I don't think it's trolling at all. I think that two things. Number one, she's still grieving their situation, and she's trying to find different outlets, obviously, to get over it. But she's still hurt. Which you can clearly see that. And the second thing is we just live in a social media world. So I think she has a lot of people behind her saying, hey, girl, you need to get back out on the scene. You need to push past this. You know, don't let too much time pass by. So she's doing these things to kind of, I guess, get back on the scene, but at the same time, figure out who the single person is and the version that she wants to create. I don't necessarily think that she's trolling him. Because I think she still loved the dude, honestly. And I think he probably still loves her. I can't speak for their love, but I think that she's just grieving right now.
So let me ask you this. How much responsibility do we have to our divorce partner? Let's just say we know this is something that I'm asking. Damn, Asia. It's like, yo, like y'all was in love. Y'all did. Y'all didn't
even say anything.
You don't have to.
Calling all priests.
Yeah, like, so how much responsibility do we have to our divorced partner? Like, what do we have responsibilities, if any, if you know some of the things? So again, she may not be trolling, but she know he may feel a way about this. What responsibility do y'all feel like you have to a partner that you once loved? The divorce didn't seem too bad. You know, some people may have wanted some, but it didn't seem messy. Do we have a responsibility to that from that? Do we have a responsibility to that person we just divorced?
Yeah, I think so. I think to not disrespect them, right? But I don't think that she was being disrespectful. And I think like and on the real too, I think like she's a celebrity, so I think it's a little bit different. But when we think about, there are some people like in real time that they've been separated for a while. So it's like the divorce is now finalized, but they've been living separately for quite a while, right? So actually, for kudos for not putting out content in this way prior to the divorce actually being final, right? And also, I don't see anything that she did was disrespectful. And you have women, people that have like divorce parties, right? Like that, like once the ink dries, they're legit having a full-blown, I've been invited to them. It's final, like let's have a full party, right? I don't think that she's doing that. I think she's just embracing just her singlehood in a way that's relevant to her being a celebrity, right? And people asking questions constantly. Are y'all getting back together? What's really happening? We saw y'all on the red carpet. Those types of things. So,
Jay, what about you, brother? What you think?
I mean,
you might think so. Wow.
I pretty much answered it earlier. Like I said, I don't think that she's, like I said, I just think she's grieving, man. Just the way to sum it back up. That's just her way of grieving and going through it. And it was a serious situation. And to add to Asia's point, she made a great point. We don't know the history behind how long they've been separated, how long they were going through these things. So it's just like the divorce seems subtle to us, but there may have been a level of detachment a while ago.
For sure. 110%. So the last video we're going to get into, man, it doesn't have sound, but it is a great conversation that came on the internet this week. So if you've ever seen Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married To? The second one, not the first one, but the second one. We have a video showing, we have a video of kind of, now that we grown, we done grew up a little bit. I'm going to show the video and then we're going to get into this. And everybody got to pick a side too.
Okay.
So Gavin and Patricia and Why Did I Get Married To? Now that we're grown, who was wrong? Now, for my people that's watching, tapping in, I still want to hear your opinion. Who would you choose? Who would you not choose? So if you have not seen it, she was a college professor and a psychiatrist and a therapist, I think I want to say. But what happened was they had lost a child in the previous, they had lost a child and they kind of silently grieved around it. It came to the point where it got unbearable and she decided for them that they will have a divorce. And it just got ugly from there. She was making a lot of money on her own. They both made sacrifices to build her career. And then when it got to the divorce table, it was like, he was like, nah, I want it all because I didn't even want any of this. And you decided to. So now that we got some age on us, we got some life experience. Who do y'all feel like was wrong and why?
Patricia.
Ooh, Oh, I can't wait to hear Asia's answer because I'm gonna know how
You
real
know,
she is.
I think that she was wrong because she decided, kind of like what you alluded to, she decided how they were going to deal with that situation.
Mm.
Right. And I thought that was unfair to him because he couldn't fully grieve because he didn't want to be able to go through the emotion of blaming her, which is how he felt, whether it's right or wrong, but that's how he felt. But he knew he could say it to her without her getting overly offensive, right? Because even though it was an unintentional act, I think their kid wasn't buckled in or something because it was
Right.
with her. And
Mhm.
it seemed from the context that it was her fault, right? Even though it wasn't unintentional, and he kind of tiptoed around that in order to try to deal with it. And she seemed guarded, even like from the first two movies. That's kind of how her character was, right? Trying to portray an image, and it seemed
Yes.
like that she was really focused on portraying an image as a more for herself and how people viewed her, as opposed to working on the issues within their marriage. So, and then when it came down to the book money, when they were at the divorce table, she assumed, right? Hey, that's my book. That's what I created. But you have to understand when you enter into a union of marriage. Because if it would have been a man, I don't think there would have been even a question as to whether that money was available to her.
Hey, Lewis, watch out now.
Nah,
And
that's
I'm
true.
saying, I'm just being honest. And I'm married, you know what I mean? And I get it. Like, I do the math every day. Okay, I do the math all the time. So I do the math all the time. So I mean, that's something that I think she didn't even have that she just assumed it was hers, right? So I think that it was unfair. Like she could have maybe had that conversation with him.
For sure.
Right. So I do blame her. I'm not just saying that because she's a woman. I think there were a lot of cues and points that I took away from that would justify my pick.
For sure. In chat, let us know who you go. Do a P for Patricia if you think it's her fault, or G for Gavin. But Lewis, excuse me, Jay, Asia, what side are y'all on and why?
I'm with Lewis.
What? Yeah, somebody clip that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Don't clip it.
Don't click.
But no, I think I will claim it's AI. But I really think that, I'm for the same reasons that Lewis said, to be honest. I think, and to be, I think we all thought it was her then.
Mhm.
I really do think that. I think that we all secretly in our heads, in our hearts, we knew it was her. But it was one of those, when you look at the whole picture, it's like, but why he gotta talk like that and why he gotta be like that, And so we found reasons that made sense, right? To be upset with him, but at the end of the day, it was her fault. And as a therapist too, I think that's another layer of, I think sometimes as like therapists and people that work in the mental health field, we do neglect home, right? We get
That's
so
real.
consumed with other people and so many things that we become blinded to the fact that we are also human, right? And so it's like, because we view ourselves in some capacities like we are assistants of healing, right? Yeah. But it's like, okay, but we're still human. Right? It's not like because we get a degree and because we hear other people's problems that all of a sudden ours become non-existent, right? And so like I really, really think, and sometimes as mental health practitioners, we bury ourselves so deep into work so that we don't have to face our problems, because for us, we're like, we don't want to bring that into session. I don't want to identify with my client who is also going through self-blame and guilt and shame and all these things. So I have to detach myself. When you become so detached, you become detached from reality, right? As opposed to just being detached from your client's pain or their experiences, which can be really, really dangerous.
That's real. That's super
good.
real. Appreciate you, Asia. What about you, Jay?
I blame Gavin, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah. He done switched up on the plug, man. City Trends, come get your stuff back.
First of all, hey, don't do that, bro. Graphic T, I'll tell you where I got it from.
City Trends is fashion for us.
This nigga t-shirt. I ain't even gonna get on that, boy. I ain't even gonna get on that.
Go ahead, though. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, brother.
I blame Gavin, though. And the reason why is because he secretly felt, because obviously he told, said Milk Dud what was going on. That's who ended up telling all the shit. So he felt a certain type of way. He really felt like she was irresponsible and stupid as hell.
Oh, that's a good angle. I didn't think about that.
He felt that way, but he never communicated that with his wife. And if you notice, she didn't know that, he didn't know that. But when the guy exposed it, I think the way that it was exposed from the other person saying, Gavin, did you tell your wife that you think that she's, and it caused her to react the way that she had reacted the rest of the movie. I don't think any of that would have happened if they would have both sat down and he's like, listen, just been truthful, because I think that's why, to allude to what Lewis was saying earlier, that's why she started creating that character of like perfection, of trying to like stay in the public eye. We got it all together, because deep down inside, she was trying to smother that pain, because she felt guilty inside too.
For sure.
She knew she made a mistake, but I think it was the way that the information was delivered that turned her into that monster.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if Gavin would have had that conversation, I think it wouldn't have even went that far.
Hey Jay, you know what? That's a really great thing I didn't think about. And I also will say this to the point that you're making. One of the hardest things when you're dealing with people on that level, like say if he did have that conversation, right? It's so hard trying to control the way somebody, how much time somebody has to handle what you said to them.
Yes.
Right. So like he goes and has that conversation, and then you got to sit and wait and be patient and allow her to go through her processing on how she felt about it, the healing, because obviously she lost a child too. So she has to feel away.
Absolutely.
Feel away, whichever the way it goes. So like it's such a great area when you say something that's a tough conversation and you put something on somebody else's plate, and now you got to play the patience game and then give them enough time and respect to go through their process. Now he does that, and then what happens when somebody feels like, okay, you've had enough time now, like we should be transitioning. That's when it gets really great. I said I gave you your time. I don't feel like it's moving fast enough, and it might not be, but like that's when it gets really great. Jay, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Your answer made me say both of them. Like, bro, I'm gonna be real, but that was I know, I'm lying, Asia. I'm lying.
You told us. Okay.
I'm gonna say Patricia for one reason and one reason only. Not only did you make the decision for them, you made it in front of in a public setting in front of everybody else where we weren't allowed to even talk about it. You know what I mean? Like you said something in front of everybody, disregarded how I would react, disregarded how I would feel, and disregarded the fact that like I now have to process this with eyes on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you got in front of everybody and said that we're doing this. All right, so here we have another. Appreciate you tapping in, F1 tonight. So it's painful to take accountability for something you've done without intention. It's almost like someone else did it, so it hurts. It makes it worse when someone rubs it into the DJ's point, PNG. Oh, so she said both of them.
Yeah.
I think Lewis alluded to this before, like intent versus impact, right? Like our intention is for us. So you doing it without intent is like, it doesn't change how that person's feel. I do think it's hard. Asia, I want to know kind of your opinion being in the space, knowing how it went and knowing that he did not say something. What would be the appropriate approach to that, kind of being that that's such a catastrophic moment in time? You know what I'm saying? Like losing a child and somebody, quote unquote, looking like they're at fault or may have had more responsibility. Like, what would be your approach to something that ended like that? I mean, I'm just asking out of complete curiosity.
Like as a
like
therapist,
you being the expert in something that happens to a relationship that you may have not the tools, but like you being the expert and being the one that's quote unquote responsible, not trying to be funny. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. In that moment, I'm gonna take it to this, right? A lot of times when people meet me and they say like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" and I say, "Oh, I'm a therapist," right? And they say, "Oh, are you like judging me right now? Like, are you diagnosing me right now?" Right? And I was no. Like we turn that stuff off, right? Because like if I'm at the podcast party, right? That's coming up soon. I'll be there. Right, exactly. You know, but like for me, I'm not thinking about diagnosing somebody with generalized anxiety disorder. I'm just not. It's not the setting for that. In the same way that in those moments, sometimes she's not thinking like, oh, I'm a therapist, right? I'm a mental health expert. she's a wife, she's a grieving mother who knows that she's to blame. So in those moments, it will be catering to the human side of her, knowing that, okay, I need to go talk to a specialist about this.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I do need to get on medication that I prescribe to people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And as like we have therapist friends, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I would easily, that's why sometimes I love having Britt. If I'm going through something, the person I'll talk to Britt because she knows how to be objective. Right. And I know that because she's also an expert, I know that I can't handle that right now. I don't have capacity to be objective when I'm going through something. So it's having a level of self-awareness, which I think anybody can have. It's just about having access to, right? So not everybody has a therapist friend or a psychiatrist friend, right? So for me, you know, thankful that I have that. So that's what I would do immediately.
Salute, 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 salute. All right. Any last thoughts on Patricia or Gavin?
Yeah, I want to throw something else out there.
Sure, brother.
About like losing a child for anybody. Obviously, that's I couldn't even imagine.
For sure.
I couldn't even imagine how to react to that. But in that movie, it has some good points. And to me, that second runner-up for me was Tyler Perry's wife when she had her tubes tied and didn't tell that baby.
Boy,
I think tough situation.
Bro, that's worse. I think that's worse than that situation, bro.
See, I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to take away from people that lost a child or anything. I wanted to tread lightly on that. But to me, that would have hurt me more. Like, bro, we've been trying this whole time and you got your tubes tied?
Yeah, and it ties back to what we talked about earlier, bro. You would have to feel betrayed, right? Like, you got me thinking that this can happen. No, back to the point we was making earlier, bro. I just, bro, that's and you knowing that, bro.
You knowing that it can't happen is insane.
Yeah, that is. That is
part of the thing. It made me think about that when you started talking about the movie. That was crazy, man.
That just made me mad.
Yeah. You talking about the two-tie joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. All right, man. So we're about to get into our last part of the show tonight. We're gonna throw it over to my brother Louis B for Louis, man, hit us with it, bro. What's the topics of the night, brother?
All right, let's get to it. We got a few topics for you. So one, I just want to do a quick check-in, right? So we are in May, almost at the end of May. We're almost midway through the year. And like most people, everyone has these resolutions that they come up with in January. So what I want to do, I just want to check in, you know, for any resolutions that you may have made, or if there's a goal or something that you set out to accomplish or something you set out to do, I want to check in and see where you are. So this is for accountability. So I'll kick it off with you, Kenan, based on where you were in January, some goals that you set forth or set ahead for yourself for the year. Where are you right now?
For sure. I think I'm definitely appreciate it, bro. I actually like to check in the accountability, man. Yeah. I still got to finish my 30 miles, bro. I got 18 right now. But nah, bro, I think I'm going in the right direction. My goals were really holistic, so there's no quarter. Like right now, they can't be completed either way it goes. I think, and the team knows, like, we did a lot of planning at the end of last year, and I think everything we planned and talked about is right in order of happening. You feel me? My financial goals are really on point. You know what I mean? Again, they're holistic. But the one thing I'm most proud of, bro, is like my family goals and being able to have the capacity to do everything and be there for them, man. Like, salute to my wife. She has been very major and made the goals easier, bro. My son is thriving in education. One of the biggest things that I wanted to always make sure, and I don't know if I shared this as a goal, but this was a big goal. The intentionality behind my son's support. You know what I mean? Like, in an educational standpoint, I wanted to put that in the forefront. And I feel like my wife and I, because I can't take full credit, have done that. So, Louis, for real, bro, I'm going to say very confidently and very proudly, like, I feel like I'm on track. Like, there's going to be bumps, you know what I'm saying? But, like, as far as what 2024 has offered so far, brother, I feel really good about where I'm at, for real.
Big, good stuff, man. Proud of you, bro.
Appreciate it, my guy.
All right.
Yeah,
let's go with you, Jay.
Okay. For me, I feel like I'm on track now. It started out pretty rough. I can't be honest with that. So financial things here and there, different things, but definitely back on track with that. The only thing that I'm not fully on track with is still trying to balance out that work life / regular life deal. It's a bit hectic, but it's getting better. I'm finding different ways to work around that. And other than that, man, I would say everything else is on track for now.
My dog. Love
Salute, my boy. Salute, my boy.
Proud of you, man. All right, the lady of tonight's show.
I think for me, it's no surprise that I've said 1,000 times that last year is probably like the worst year of my life, right? And so because of that, I really didn't set any goals for myself. Just being quite honest, I didn't feel a purpose to it. I wasn't motivated, but from January until now, I am in a completely different place. Like I think if I would have even made goals, I don't think that they would have matched where I am right now.
Salute.
So I'm very, very happy. And I feel at peace. And for me, Jay, you know, one of the bigger things was that work balance. Because as some of y'all know, I do work quite a couple of jobs. But
I had a text on that the other day, bro. I'm like, hey.
Yes, it's true. But you'll be proud of me. So I have been holding on to this one job that I knew I should have been let it go since before I moved out here, to be honest, to North Carolina. And I just gave my resignation last week. So I will be done the end of this month.
Salute.
I'm changing my work schedule around. So like even things like that, like I feel my mindset has changed. And I think that has been the biggest accomplishment so far. What about you, Lewis?
So for me, one, you know, part of it was physical, so I've been very active. As you guys know, by our challenge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But
what is he on?
But you know, that was big for me. And you know, making my health a priority. But balance was a big thing. I was journaling heavily the beginning of the year. I've kind of tailed off a little bit, so I got to pick back up on that. But really working on self, man, like in every aspect, from making time to be intentional about doing things for me. I'm a big family guy. You guys know I'm a big family guy. And I had to create boundaries for everyone, my daughter, my son, my wife, and to ensure that I make myself a priority. I made that a point to do that this year, and I've done it. And, you know, there are times where I kind of want to go back to really giving them everything, right? But I got to give myself, I got to leave something for me. And I've been doing that, and I feel like I'm in a better space because of it. And I do feel like I'm on track. I gotta work on my relaxing part. I haven't really done that yet. But I'm being more intentional. So I'm gonna pick back up on that tomorrow.
Okay.
Wait, can I just tell everybody this real quick? Just to show, because I think it's amazing, Lewis, for real. Like you saying that you wanted to prioritize like your physical health. Lewis has surgery, y'all, right? Like has surgery. We created a challenge of having to do 30 miles in basically 31 days, well, 30 days, I guess, right? Whatever. Lewis finished 30 miles in 7 days.
For real.
A week.
Bro, it was crazy.
Like
insane.
It's the most insane thing ever. So I just want to I think that really is a big, big deal. So really salute to you for real, Lewis, because I think that was just amazing for real.
Yeah, thank you guys. Part of that was competitiveness, but what I did appreciate about it is it pushed me. And you pushed me, Asia, and all you guys, but it let me know that you
stop it, Asia.
But it lets me know that it did show me if you want to get something done, you can do it, right? Bro, and it showed me I have the time. And if anyone that's ever worked out or gotten out of working out, once you get back in the routine of working out, you're like, what the hell was I doing with my time?
Nothing. Hey, you know that meme with Beetlejuice when he walking in the fridge, like, what you doing? He be like, nothing. Bro, that's what it is, bro. That's really what it is, bro. Like you be killing time. Bro, let me tell you, bro. I'm so bad about that. I had to put downtime in my schedule so I don't waste all the other time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can mess around and have too much downtime instead of just saying at this time I'm gonna cut off and chill, but I'm gonna do this at this time, this at that time.
Yep. So yeah, so you got more time and allow me to know how you got more time in your day to do things, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. All right, cool. I talked about boundaries, so now we're going to talk about boundaries. All right, so segue. So, question: we do a lot of topics, so I'm going to ask about more so the application. So, how do you guys suggest someone to create boundaries with their partner? How would you suggest? What's the recommended method of how to create boundaries with your partner, significant other?
Sexual boundaries, regular boundaries.
We're gonna stay away from that. The copulation for right now. We're gonna get back to that though. You know, I got one for that. So we're gonna put the copulation to the side. Okay, we're gonna keep it on just non-sex related for now.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I'll start. Oh no, I went first last time, y'all. When y'all taking? I'm sorry.
Okay. I think that a way I would suggest of setting those boundaries with a significant other partner, whatever you guys may have, is number one, taking away the feeling guilty. You know what I mean? As far as like when
That's
you
a good one, Jay.
prioritize yourself, you know what I'm saying? When you want to do certain things, and let's say, for example, long day at work, come home, you know, obviously you have obligations to your family, your partner, but you may need an extra 30, 45 minutes before, you know what I mean, you start actually engaging with your family. Just knowing that and setting that boundary and communicating that boundary is the most important thing. Because I think a lot of times some people set boundaries, but they don't let the other person know that they set the damn boundary. And the other person's like, why are you acting different? Why are you doing this? And it's like you're really trying to protect yourself and elevate yourself. But I think the communication is key. So I would say the main thing that I would give them, and to sum it up, is just take the guilt out of it.
For sure.
Love it.
Love that, Jay.
Take the guilt out of it for yourself, right?
For
like
yourself, for yourself.
You got to take the guilt out of it for yourself and know that you're doing it for a good reason.
And it's weird. Take the guilt out for yourself to ultimately give your family a better version of yourself.
Better version of you. Correct. Yep.
Great. That's good stuff, brother. That's good stuff.
Beautiful.
Asia, I'm gonna defer to you.
I think Jay, what you were saying, like at the end, I think it really is just about communication. You know, I just feel like we don't do anything by ourselves, right? So even with the taking out the guilt, right? Everything that we do, it still impacts everybody around us. So being able to have a clear plan of what those boundaries are, because knowing that you might have to answer some questions, right? How long are you doing this? Is it because of me? How, you know, what are the like all these things. So I think it is, yes, taking the guilt out of it, but also having a plan, a plan that you can articulate to your loved ones, because you don't want them to then resent you for having boundaries. You don't want them to think that it's because of them, because at that point they won't give you peace while you're creating these boundaries. You want to have boundaries and be able to also have peace. And so that will come with you just articulating so that they understand.
So what you're saying is you have a responsibility with creating boundaries to be able to clearly communicate what those boundaries are and why.
Yeah, I think with your significant other, for sure.
So they can't just say, hey, I want to just stop doing this, and then get mad when they start asking you questions. Like, no, that's a part of it. That's a that's the responsibility of creating boundaries, is you're going to have to explain yourself, which you know I don't like to do, but that's true.
Yeah. Hey, so I agree with both of those. Lewis, I just kind of need two, because I think the first one ties into the second one. I think the first part about my boundary settings, talking specifically to myself, is like self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand what you need a boundary around. And what a lot of times what I used to do is take moments in time and feel like there was needed a boundary, and I'm really just having a bad week, a bad day, I'm going through my grief cycle with something of that nature, and then I'm sitting here saying boundary, but in reality, it's a moment of time. For instance, I'm going to be real. this is probably opposite of a lot of people. I get home last. It can somewhat be overwhelming walking through the door and Daddy. I'm like, oh, like chill, right? But I realized I don't need something right there. Like I used to think like, oh, it's my day. Nah, I really don't need that. Ain't my time. That ain't my time to say like, hey, let me get this cool out time. Let me do this. So I'm gonna start by saying self-awareness. You got to know yourself in order to know what boundary to set. Now, I think the other side of knowing yourself is realizing that when you set a boundary, on the other side of that, there's a boundary that can be set on you. And it may be something that you're not ready for. You know what I'm saying? Like when you communicate to your partner, are you saying, hey, do this, do that? On that very same regard, bro, be ready for something to come back. I think a lot of times when it comes to boundary, setting, it's not a day thing. It's not one conversation. You're literally teaching someone how to treat you. You're literally teaching someone how to talk to you in certain moments. So you got to be patient with it. But, bro, you got to have self-awareness and you got to be transparent about what the boundary is and why it's needed, yo. Like, that's what I had to do. And what you realize, if you locked in with the right person, it ain't going to be too hard for somebody to respect you needing space. Because I really love what Jay said about setting the boundary to get a better version of yourself. You know what I mean? Now, if he talking about a boundary, he need a hotel room once a month on a weekend. That's a different type boundary.
Yeah, absolutely.
That ain't a boundary. Yeah. That's not a boundary.
But and let me say this too, like, and I think you also have to be prepared with self-awareness that you're actually, and this is why I think, Lewis, it's important to say why and to give information, because then your partner might hold you accountable. Are you going to be upset when you set a boundary and they actually are supporting you in that? When you want to give up, when you actually don't want to do it anymore, when you thought that it was going to go differently and they hold you accountable, you cannot be upset.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes I realize we'll say a thing because it sounds good. And it's like, okay, yeah, let me just say it because I set the boundary. And we're not even thinking about the follow through.
That's
the accountability of that.
That's a great point.
That goes along with the self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Right before we throw it back to you, man, we got a couple of comments I want to tap in with real quick. F1 said communication all day. Appreciate you tapping in. Wholeheartedly agree. Communication is one of those things that's never going to stop being a big thing. Britt, hey, what up? She said, be honest, communication expectations up front. I want to know how soon is too soon with up front. How soon is too soon without up front? The next one is, and reinforce boundaries if you need to. A lot of people don't like to reinforce their boundaries if they're crossed. We all know how she said, nah. I can hear that joint. I can hear that joint through the post.
Nah.
No, absolutely. And you know what's so crazy? I think it's actually tough to set things up front when you don't know how somebody is. I'm just going to challenge that a little bit. That can be kind of tough when you may not know how somebody is to set it up front. That gets. But
I think the boundaries are for you. So I think that's what, to your point, where self-awareness has to come into play.
Okay.
So, yeah, and for me, don't be like me and just yell at everybody, because that's how I was setting boundaries a few months ago at my home. I was like, I'm tired of y'all. You, hey, nah, don't be like me. All right.
That was just wild, bro.
I'm being honest. I just flipped with everybody, and I was like, y'all ungrateful. I was just going off, right? But this is the deal. This is the reality of it. Is, man, Keenan, I think you and I talked about this recently in one of your clips. Who am I saying it for,
bro?
Right?
That changed my life, bro. That was big, man.
So I have to realize, if the message is really about me and these 3 people in this home, or my wife, you really love me, right? Then I got to come and approach it with, I got to do it in love, man. Do it in love. Hey, I love myself, right? You love me. I love me. We got something in common. But I love myself, right? And I'm doing this because I want to be able to better myself for you and for me, right? Like, you love me enough to want me to better myself for me. And that's how I was able to approach these conversations. And to Asia's point, I love accountability. I'm weird. I love it. Keep me accountable, right? I love that. So, but you got to be prepared for it. And and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need people to kind of call you out on your stuff so that you can, okay, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. So I would say be honest, but in your approach, you have to be mindful of the intent, because if you say it out of frustration, if you say it out of anger, you're gonna have to overcome that challenge for something that you really need for you. So be very cognizant of when you have that conversation and ensure that you're in a place to want to explain yourself, or to be able to explain yourself and articulate and not get offended when someone challenges you on things. All right. We're gonna split it up a little bit. So we're gonna go to another a lot of celebrities messing up. Speaking of 90s celebrities, man, that damn Brian McKnight, man.
Oh my
So
god.
how many of you guys know about that situation?
Oh wow.
So my the R&B crooner himself has
Crooner
children from a previous marriage who he no longer associates himself with. And he's now married a new lady who is of a different race and ethnicity. And he fully owns her kids that she had prior to meeting him, as well as the kids they had together. He changed his name so that he can name his newest set of children after him, Junior, even though he has a Brian McKnight Jr. And he goes online and consistently says negative things like they were made out of sin and removing evil from his life. And he's practically disowned them.
Yeah.
And it is a very unfortunate situation. But wanted to get y'all's thoughts on what you do know about the situation. Like, again, this is kind of time back into seeing a lot of people from an era that we grew up in shift. He's had shows canceled, had a recent show canceled in Detroit. As a result, people not wanting to support him or the music any longer.
Yeah,
Any thoughts?
Asia, we're gonna let Asia start with this one.
Yeah.
Man.
I done put you on the spot.
Brian.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like completely disowns them, bro.
Completely disowns them.
Who they are. It's wild, yo. It's wild. It's
Like
crazy.
That's I don't like stuff like that. And actually, this brings me back to a question, Lewis, I think that you asked earlier. Like, no, Keenan, you did. Like, can we separate the artists from their music, right? And I think, like, my answer is, like, when I first find out about something, I cannot separate it, right? I cannot. Just being honest, as time goes on, I will still support the old things, but anything new that they create. No, on a serious tip, like if R. Kelly made a R&B something from jail right now, I wouldn't listen to it. I would not support it.
But
right?
age ain't nothing but a number.
Bars behind bars.
No, but y'all are so aggravating. But there's still some songs, right? That if I hear it at a cookout, I'm not gonna be like, oh, turn that off. Just being honest, right? So I think for me, just even me thinking about it, I'm just like, dang, like all my old songs, I know for a second, like I really am upset about this and I don't agree with it at all. And I feel horrible for his children. You know what I mean? Just because I'm thinking about what it does to them and their identity and their feelings of worthlessness and how they build relationships with people. Like I think that sucks.
I think one of the craziest parts about it, Asia, you have a junior that you intentionally change your name for to make another kid your junior, bro.
Insane.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll be real, man. Like that junior thing, and Louis, I'm like absolute respect, no funny at all. But like that name thing is funny, bro. Like that's still my identity, regardless of like I couldn't control being named something, right?
Right.
To do these things, my name is forever. No matter how you want to flip it, no matter how you feel, you forever putting me in a category or a type of situation that I may never be able to get myself out of because of what you decided to you know what I mean? And that's like you to go do that to the second kid. That kid, I don't care what you say, that young baby is still going to eventually get older and find out what happened to his brother. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
bruh, that's crazy. Like, bruh, nah, man. I think Brian McKnight is way out of pocket. Because I don't wish ill on people. I'm not gonna say what I'm actually thinking. I hope everybody got their money back for that show. Like, bruh, Some people need to go away. Some people need their phone taken. Get
He
him.
doubles down on it. Anytime he has a chance to talk about it, he doubles down on his opinion of his children. What's up, Jay? What you got?
Oh man, Lewis, I was just great segue. I was just about to jump straight to that point. Two things for me. One, for every time that you're in any type of spotlight or anything, you double down on saying these kids are made out of sin. This was a mistake. Or basically like constantly reminding them of something that they didn't even ask to be here for. That's number one. The second thing to me that's very alarming is that a woman that you choose to marry actually allows you to disown your first set of kids and actually own the second set of kids and not find anything wrong with that is more alarming to me than anything. Because if you can't be an upstanding father to your biological kids, why would I feel like you're going to be an outstanding father to kids that are not even yours? And then furthermore, why would you want to do that? As a
Does
man?
she have more money than him, Lewis?
Who, his new wife? No.
I really don't know. I'm asking.
No, she's just from my understanding, from what I know, she's just a Samoan lady.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. Bro, man, I'm not buying your tickets, bro.
Yeah.
Not
It's unfortunate.
Samoan.
Yeah.
I thought they was rocking with us.
Hey, bro, I judge. I ain't gonna try to be funny, bro, but I judge her a tad bit, bro. It's like, why would you think that's okay for your husband to do? Like, and then like even like the doubling down. Say you jumped out there one day, you got on live, said some super reckless. Everybody know it might not be public, but you got to get that talk. Like, what are you doing? And then if he goes, say if she did do that, and he goes back and double downs on what he said again, not forget the kids, but now he disrespecting you because he's not even respecting what you do. So either way you want to flip it, I'm judging your choice, not your taste, not in music, because he can, you know what I'm saying, his music good, but in men.
That's bad. Well,
it's heartbreaking.
At this rate, the light-skinned brother's about to come back in style between P. Diddy, Brian McKnight, Kel. We back. All right.
Man, here you go. Hey, ask Drake how back
comeback.
Ask Drake how back y'all are.
Get the D.
Ask Drake how back y'all are.
Woo. He mixed. He mixed.
Here you go. Oh, wasn't no smoke, man. Drake probably was smoke with everybody. He probably out on us, bro. He taking smoke from everybody, bro. We sorry, yo. Good, Drake.
All right, so we're gonna switch it up. So we're gonna get to one of our favorite topics. We're gonna get to the copulation. All right.
That's your favorite topic.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, is that right?
Hey,
is that
Jay,
right?
What is Lewis? Hey, Jay, what is Lewis or what?
A what?
What they say off $1 million per game? What is he?
Oh, he a nut ass freak boy.
Well, it's Mr. Nasty time. All right, listen.
Boy.
So, how do you ask your partner for what you want in the bedroom? Now, this ain't no this not a situation where it's like a one-time deal. But if it's someone that you have been entangled with on more than one occasion, this is your entanglement partner.
Okay.
How do you go about asking for what you want?
Clarifying question. Lewis, why I can't ask a clarifying question, bro?
No, go ahead.
Like everything is cool, but you want more, or what's being done isn't satisfying the expectation.
Man, if it's something that you want, whatever, it could fall in anything.
Okay, I see what he's trying to. I'm just trying to ask clarity. Like, I think
you want this. Like, hey, you know some of that stuff. Yeah,
but Lewis, the reason why I asked for
look at him.
Man, I think
Whip, look at his ass.
Go ahead, bro. Hey,
baby,
Jay,
I want to do something different tonight. I want to do something different.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, Jay, you go ahead first, because I know Jay got some reckless. Go ahead, Jay.
No, bro, you got that reckless. I can go though. I think that the way to ask your partner for something like that, first of all, I think you got to take in consideration of your partner's sexual, I'm not gonna say limitations, but sexual desires. So for example, if you're gonna ask for something outrageous, maybe that you feel like your partner can't do, I think it's different versus you asking them to perform something and you don't really necessarily know their freak level basically. So I think those two play a major role, because if you go from just having traditional laying down, we got to do it in the bed sex, to like all of a sudden you know what I'm saying, you out in public, y'all, you pulling her in the car or the closet, something outrageous, and
man.
Oh, bro, I'm back like you never had no car sex. Get out of here. So
you said never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think you just have to know their freak level, and I think you have to be mindful of, can it be done? Because some things can get a little too freaky. I ain't gonna lie. I don't play with that ass thing. Don't touch me. Don't come near me. You know what I'm saying? I don't get into all that.
That's how you set the boundary, Jay.
I'm setting it hard. Nah.
So what did you do the first time she did that to you?
And that shit never happened. It never happened. Hey, you know my motto. Hey, ain't shit back there. You good? Everything in the front. Everything you need is right in the front. I guarantee that. Ain't shit back there. What?
Hey, Jay, she had to have crap back there. If you say, hey, ain't nothing back there.
Everything you need is in the front.
Ain't nothing back there for you.
Everything from around there.
Hey, yo, Jay, like, why your fingers up there, man?
Yeah, no,
everything you need is in the front.
All equipment that you need is in the front.
Oh,
there's
man.
nothing there. Good to go. Just stay up here.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, and the crazy part is he said it just like that.
Well, man,
absolutely. Ain't nothing back there. Everything you need is up here.
All the equipment you need is in the front. Yeah, ain't nothing back there.
Oh man.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's split. Let's let's go to Asia. Let's go to Asia. I feel like it'll be more sensible.
Crazy, man. Something wrong with him, bro.
Yeah, because y'all are
real talk. Something is wrong with Jay, bro. Something wrong with that man.
I think. Let me see. How would you okay, so I think during the act, right? You just maneuver, like as a woman, you just maneuver your body. You're guiding hands. You're being more vocal, without saying like, yes, do this, right? You're like guiding the hand certain places and letting the person know this is nice. Let's stay here for a bit, right? And then after the fact, say, I really liked it when you did that. We should do that again.
That's fair.
That's it.
Ooh, that's a smooth way of doing it. Yeah.
So we take his head and you. I'm just playing. So
boy.
Hey, you see the clumps when he be putting his head in the water? He's like, no, that ain't enough. Hey,
we're gonna grow up one day. We're gonna grow up one day.
No, y'all not. No, y'all not.
So I'm not gonna lie. Like I think from a guy perspective, and Lewis, I meant my clarifying question, but it's kind of like the level of comfortability. So let me go left for it real quick. I think like there's a good way when you say you had a really good date night. And I'm gonna say you've been locked in with this person. Like this, not a new person. This is somebody that obviously expectations have grown. I'm not gonna get into marriage and stuff like that because that's a, you know what I'm saying. But just say expectation has grown. This is the person that I'm exchanging with. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right, get a little night going. You feel me? Get a little endorsement going in the system, and let things go where they may and trial or something. And then ask on the back end, like, and then because you gotta think about it, like if it worked. Yeah, if not, now, let me say this. You got to know your partner and when to try those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know when she tried Jay. I don't know when he had to tell her that. You know what I'm saying? But in my opinion, Lewis, I think I like what Asia said from a woman perspective, but I think from a guy perspective, this is going to sound so bad, but it's true. But like, there's certain times where you're in control of that, right? Like if you have something that you want to do, if you're playing your cards right, you're able to lead her too while y'all are doing certain things. And then you always got to have the back end follow up.
Yep.
Like, yo, like, and have that, and that confirms or denies what worked. And then the other way I'll say is like, bro, honestly, if y'all really locked in, rap about it. Like, because experience levels are very different. Like, your experience levels are very different. And this is the thing that people really don't understand. You can have a lot of bodies, man, woman, or male, doing the same trick, and that doesn't make you great at doing the act at all. You know what I mean? So like, what people experience will always control what their expectation is. So sometimes you just got to rap about it. For real. Like, you got to have a conversation about it. And if this is your person, or this is who you're going to be locked in with, you better have it, or you're going to be bored for the rest of your life. So that's what I think, bro. So you can try it, get a little flow, get a little drink going, you know what I'm saying? Come to the podcast party, get a little Remy in you, you know what I'm saying? And then try. You know what I mean? And then come back on the back end and see how it go. Then talk about it. Hey, bro, look, we grown, man. Like, I think at a certain point, you locked in with somebody, you got to be able to talk about it.
Absolutely.
I like that. I think I agree. And the way that I would approach it is being upfront. Like, hey, like, what are your thoughts about this? You know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts about that? Are you comfortable with this? You know? Yeah. And I think that and it's weird because, we laugh and play and I laugh and play about it. But, if I'm having a serious conversation, it's hard for the person to get offended, right? Because it's really intentional. Like, I'm being intentional about how I want this experience to go for me, right? And I also think that now here's a suggestion. Now, this is sex is not a place to be selfish. So if you start asking for things, I think you should also open the door for that person to provide their request as well. So that would be my suggested approach. So don't just go into it with what you want. Make sure you are catering to whomever you are having that experience with.
For sure.
That's very
true. And let me
go ahead, Asia. I'm sorry.
Yeah, now real quick. And just also just thinking about this, when you're trying something new, you might be excited, right? You might have seen the reference point and now you're ready to try it. Okay. That does not mean you go in full force when you're trying something new. Because like even in my example of saying like, oh yeah, like just grab his hand and guide him, right? In the same way that, he just said, yeah, like try something in the moment. If you are too excited about the thing, you can come off very, very strong. And it then is only pleasurable for one person. And then the other person, because they see the excitement, it's now like oh well, let me just thug it out.
Yeah.
Because clearly it's too much, but we're not going to see anything in the moment because we see how excited, right, the other person might be. So when you are trying new things, just ease into it, not too much. Get feedback and then go full force.
How would you approach if the person fails at it?
Fails at trying something new?
Like maybe new to them, not new to you.
Yeah, that's expected. Having the conversation, though. Like having the conversation for sure. Because you have to, and I guess because like for me, looking at that, it's like that is a time of like exploration. You have fun, do your thing. You're not like chemistry, I think, is built.
Yep.
Right. There are going to be certain things that like you will then learn how your person's body reacts to certain things. Right. That might be a unique experience for you two together. Right. And so in that way, if you've experienced something 1,000 times, you're the expert on it, not the other person. You got to show them grace in that. And that is where it becomes a teachable moment. Right. And that's where the intimacy part comes into play. As far as being able to say let me show you how I like it to be done, right? And then being okay when they want you to do something, and then you also have to learn how to please that person. It's supposed to be a pleasurable experience, but also a learning experience.
Very true.
For sure. And I'll say this, man, it works against us, God. I ain't gonna say works against us, but like, recently there's been an uptick in women really expressing their lack of pleasure in that area. Like guys coming to the realization that you know, somebody being somebody isn't enough. Like there's more you got to do. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to hear for you. You know what I mean? And specifically, like I'll be really super transparent. Like someone like me who's been with my wife since I've been 19, and you grow and you grow and you grow. Like you're learning what you like as you're communicating what you like. You know what I mean? So like there's times where you gotta really literally try things and stab at it. It ain't awkward or anything, but like you gotta do that, because I'll also go here with it. Some of the things that's normalized now, or some of the conversations or some of the actions, those weren't things when we were learning.
No,
You know
not at all.
so
Yeah.
like you finding the new things and stabbing at the new things and be willing to have an open, so this is the other side, having an open mind to those new things now. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have a level of comfortability just trying it off the rip. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But guys, you know, sometimes like I know that it's not always easy when I ain't gonna say when the rapper got the gun, but like, bruh, women are starting to express like, nah, this ain't it. Nah, this ain't it. I think sometimes guys have a hard time adjusting. In general, it's kind of like the pregnancy thing that you said earlier, right, Asia? Like, we're used to critiquing said thing. So receiving it, you know, is different. Me personally, I think the fact that there's conversations around it in the evolution of sex means that y'all headed in the right direction. To me,
Yeah.
like you would have more of a problem if you never want to talk about it. Like nothing new is happening. That's when I think becomes more of an issue than trying something new. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think it should be an ongoing conversation, because you want to experience things new. You got to keep it exciting. You know what I mean? I've been married for a long time, and the way we experience each other is different than it was when we started. You know what I mean? And there were things that I would not even want to consider just because of ego, right? But now I understand. Okay, this is just another element, you know, of it.
How did you check it? How did you check yourself? Not just speaking.
Y'all, man, when we had this podcast and we were talking, and I was like, I've never asked her what she wanted. I had never asked. I think that was like year 9. I had never asked her what she had wanted.
Damn.
I just assumed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we started having more conversations around it. You know what I mean? Yeah, we started having more conversations around it. But I wasn't embarrassed, because I'm like, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I started to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because 9 years of misery is long, boy.
It's one of those things, and it ain't the other one either. All right, so all right, so last topic. Speaking on our last dark skinned brother for the night, Shaquille O'Neal. All right, so recently,
you want me to put it up, Lewis?
Go for it. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna let you explain, but I just put it up for you.
Yeah, so recently his ex-wife Shawnee O'Neal Henderson, has put out a book and is detailing and highlighting, you know, her relationship with the former NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal, and had expressed in this quote, she was on the Tamron Hall show, and a snippet of it was taken, and where she had expressed that she never felt, or she never thought that she was ever in love with Shaq. Now, she was married to Shaq for some time. I think they have 5 children together, 4 biologically his, and 1 was through a previous relationship. And they were, I would say, a power couple for some time. Shaq cheated, they divorced, etc. So what are your thoughts around that? Like, he's this huge superstar, megastar, Shaquille O'Neal, and he's with his wife. And she's now putting out a book saying she never was in love, but she had 4 of his children and is still reaping the benefits of once being married to this socialite. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I don't want to go first because I got an opinion, boy.
Well, I got a few thoughts. Number one, I really, this wasn't in the actual comment that you just showed, but I really like the way that Shaq handled it.
For afterwards.
Sure. That an individual, and if you follow his story throughout, you know, the years, he's held himself accountable. You know, his wrongdoings. He's always spoke very highly of the mother of his kids. Never really bashed her or anything like that, and rightfully so. A lot of it has to do with maybe guilt or different things, but that's no here nor there. the thing that I don't disagree with her comment on or feel some type of way about is I think that there's a combination of you cannot be in love with somebody, but be in love with the idea of somebody. And she did state that. I think that's very valid. I think that's very, very valid. You don't necessarily have to be in love with someone, but she was in love with the lifestyle, the idea of dating. I'm dating Superman Shaq. You know what I mean? I'm doing these things. So that can get you to having kids with this person. That can make you stay a little bit longer. But I think that was the reason why they split. Is because after that cheating, because she wasn't in love with him, it was more of an easier transition because it's like, yeah, if this happened, I think we should just part ways.
For sure, 110%. And I'll go here with it, Jay. Shaq did handle it well, and he's also acknowledged his mistakes in the past. But furthermore, I think is this, right? Like, I think we got to give her grace on, they were really, really young when they got married, if I'm not mistaken. They were really young when they got married. And I think something people don't think about that now I'm assuming, you know what I mean? I'm just saying from this standpoint, say her husband now is her one. When you find your one and you're reflecting like that, and you found that you feel like you found true love, you're going to feel differently about every relationship that you had prior to that. You know what I mean? And then let's be very real about something. Like, she married like one of the biggest NBA players in the game at the time. I'm not saying she did it for the wrong reasons, but there's a lot of blinding things right in front of you that will cause you to deal with certain things that you may not deal with the next person. Now, you go through that, you divorce, you meet somebody else, and you approach. And when I say meet these, I'm not saying she married him for money. What I'm saying is like Jay said, the lifestyle, you starting to have kids. There's a lot of things in the way of thinking about, hey, this is not it. Then fast forward, you divorce. Every person that I know that's divorced that now looks, you automatically know how you would approach another marriage. So your intentionality behind meeting this person, what you're looking at in this person, and honestly, you good over here. So you're only looking for a good person to connect with. And I think the thing is that people really take out of context, like, there are married people that aren't in love with each other right now, that are still in the same house, that are still acting as if they are. So I think the thing that doesn't need to be taken out of context is she said she's talking about loving someone versus being in love with someone. And I think it's a part of growth, man. Like, you grow up, you meet different people. One of her people just happened to be Shaq, and she met somebody she's really in love with. And I think it would be ignorant of anyone to think the circumstances of the first marriage to the second doesn't the stance from the first marriage to the second, I want to make sure I use the right word, it doesn't influence her decision making about the second one. I just don't think that's fair to say. She learned, she grew, she probably was more intentional. So she meets him and like, damn, if this is what real love feel like, I didn't feel that back then. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of like the same things, right? I think just because even for us, right, if we think back to our first heartbreak, right? The person that we were with at the time, we just knew that they were the person. You know what I mean? And now it's like, why would I ever? Like, I can't, but it was the right person for that time, right? And so what she said is, and she didn't say flat out like, I never loved this man. That's not what she said. She said, I don't know if I ever really loved him. As if she's still processing the thought of, was it him or was it the family aspect of it? Because even the way that Shaq does talk about her, it's always been she was a good wife, right? That she was a good mother. That means she was good at her roles. But we don't know what was in it because, and to your point, right? Like, she had to have known, and I've seen Basketball Wives 1,000 times, like, they all know what they're getting into. So they understand the risk of what they're getting into. So they always know there is a risk, that there is another woman, that there are women, all these things, right? And so I think even being with someone that is a professional athlete or a celebrity, you have your guard up to some capacity because you understand that world in a different way. And so I think that she said, man, I have this person. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mother. And they had a beautiful family. They have wonderful businesses together. And so think about that. That was a partnership. They had a partnership. And so in ways that people strive to have that, you know what I mean? And so, but thinking about, to Keenan's point, like, oh, Love, like being in love with the person, right? That's also a component of this. Was it
Mm-hmm.
necessary for them having that level of partnership? I don't know. I'm I don't know. But I do think, to Keenan's point, I think it's her statements in that was so reflective. And so it wasn't an absolute, it was very, very reflective of like, I was in this place, I'm no longer there, so now I can think back at the time that I couldn't.
For sure.
I think I agree with everybody. I'm gonna approach it like this. Why say it?
Yeah. Okay. I feel you, Lewis.
So I don't
that.
think
Yeah.
I don't disagree with any of the points made, and I don't dismiss the idea that that could potentially be the case, the reality, her truth. I think that's great, but why publish it, right? And here's my issue with that. We wouldn't know who she was. She wouldn't have the opportunity she had without him.
Mm-hmm.
If she wanted to talk about him and what he did or wasn't to her, that's one thing. But to put that out there, I think creates a um a negative, creates more negativity. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's an opportunity to make like the reflection element of it, I never really looked at it that way. So that's a new perspective to consider. But what do you gain from saying that? I think is the point, right? From someone who's given you really a platform. What do you gain from that?
But why do
I
you
don't
think she
think.
wrote the
I'm sorry. Go
book?
ahead, Asia.
I was saying, like, why do you think she wrote the book? Because if it's to tell her story, right?
Mm-hmm,
Shaq is a big part of her story.
mm-hmm,
Her being a mom, because you're right, we know her as all of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think like when we look at memoirs, when we look at people sharing their story, there are parts that we're not saying it to for it to negatively impact anyone or anything like that, but that could have been a part of her healing, right? Of learning and understanding what true love actually is, number one, and learning that like she was a role, she was multiple roles, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think for women to hear that, I think it's so like that for me feels empowering. And I really don't feel that she was being disrespectful towards Shaq. I don't think that she talked about that he was a bad father, that he was a bad person, right? I think it was really about her. It just so happens Shaq was a part of her story. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like
So
it
I
wasn't
agree.
about
I
him.
agree, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other elements in that book, but that's the only thing that people are talking about right now, right? And
Mm.
I think that and she knew that that would be something that would garner attention, and that's my point, right? There are other ways that could have been phrased or things she could have said, but I think she did it with intent and knowing that it could drive. I mean, he felt like he had to respond to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
110%.
so that's the thing. Like, why say something that you know is going to stir controversy? If you've been divorced for X amount of years, you moved on to another pastor who went viral for another reason around the same time. But why say it? But if it's the point, the reference is it's a part of reflection to help other people heal. I get it. I somewhat get it. I don't know how many other women out here marrying basketball players. It's only like 100, 300 of them. So I don't know how many people can relate to that.
No, not they can relate to not being in love with the person that they're with, but being tied to a role and only staying in a marriage because they're a good wife and they wanted to be married. I heard somebody say like women sometimes marry um or women love the idea of love, right?
Mhm.
Um it doesn't matter who it's with, right? We just love the idea of love. That's why women right now, I think we're having to learn how to nurture the man that we're actually with and how to create a safe space for the man that we're with
Mm-hmm.
because we were not taught how to love a man. Let's be clear about it. We were taught
Mm.
how to be a wife, right? Not necessarily to love, but to serve in the household, so to cook, to
Mm-hmm.
clean, and to be a mother to our kids. That is what women are taught. They're not necessarily taught how to love their man. So a lot of times, if a role is then fulfilled, if I can like do this role or whatever the case may be, cool. I've done my job. You know what I'm saying? And that's why sometimes women are tied to the fact that they're a mom, not that the
Yeah.
fact that they're a wife. the fact that they're a mom, because it's a
Damn, that's
role,
deep.
right? So I think that's the part. That's like that's the part I've seen in my own mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the part that that I think women can relate to. And also, let's be clear about it. Both of them are business people. So, Lewis, I do not disagree that she put stuff in the book that would grab people's attention, number one. But why say it? Because her and Shaq are good. They have an okay relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
So
people, us talking about it does nothing but raise sales.
for sure,
They're fine.
110%.
Fine.
So we
So
had a
just
couple. So we got Brittany said, "Why not say it?" Drea said, "Would the tables turn if Shaq wrote a book and said he wasn't in love with her?" The only pushback I'm gonna give on that one is that Shaq has already outwardly said how terrible of a husband he was when he had her and that he messed up. So
Right.
he kind of deflated his book by sharing his perspective. And I'm not gonna say he didn't say he wasn't in love with her, but it's hard to say that you're in love with somebody that you're doing those things to. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Shaq got a lot more story. And this is back to Lewis's point, right? Like Shaq's career and path probably has a lot different interesting stories that we would like to hear versus who he was in love with. I think we would want to hear other stories versus his love life. And if it is his love life, it ain't that one. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just being people will gravitate more to the other stories, will they not?
I want to hear about hoops.
See. Hey man, just know she kissed Flavor Flav in the mouth, man. And then Brittany also said she's speaking her truth. It's a business move, though. We're gonna call it what it is.
It's a business move.
It's a business move because also you didn't have to go on the show and say that part specifically versus it. So saying is not the book to me. Saying is she went on the show and used that part of it specifically that kind of and it was great marketing. Like sometimes we gotta call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? It was great marketing, bro. It was.
Hey, I'm gonna have to agree with what Asia said. I'm curious. Taught how to love men. What does that look like?
I don't know. I wasn't taught it. But it's true, right? Like I genuinely don't know. And huh?
Do you feel like you saw it? I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you feel like you saw it? You feel like you wasn't taught? You didn't see it?
I thought that I did see it until my parents got divorced. And like just in being transparent, right? I knew my parents' marriage was over when I asked my mom one day. I'll never forget it. It was maybe like 3 or 4 years before their divorce. And I said, Ma, like, do you love dad? Like, are you in love with dad? And she says, I love my kids. I love being a mom.
Oh, wow.
I love the family, you know? And in that moment, and that's why I think a lot of women sometimes end up resenting some of the roles that they are, that they're in. We're not taught how to have true partnership. And that does come, I think, from the older generation. And I think that's why, even when we talk about the word submissive, I think that's why it's so triggering for people, because submissive doesn't feel like partnership, right? And so we're not taught you can be, a partner and be submissive, right? But we're not taught that. We're not taught in any ways about like the true ideals of partnership, which is being able. And the only way I know that we weren't taught that all the time is because it's more than just serving your husband. We don't, as women, and we talk about this on this pod too, we don't know as women how to create safe spaces for our men. We don't know how to. And because of that, men don't trust us with some of their emotions and things like that. I think that's a part of learning how to love your partner, right? Like, how do you know y'all love your wives? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like you tend to her emotional needs, right? And just what she needs at that time, and all the things you do and all the things you say and all the things. I think love is built, it's a choice, but it's not just, it's outside of just a role. And I think that's the part. I think there's a part missing. I'll say that. We know how to love, but there's a part missing. That's important.
And I'll say this, Asia, to that same point you talked about loving my wife. There's a point that I realized, I'll be 34 in October. I think there's a point where I realized, like, my ignorance was bliss getting married, and it actually helped in a sense. Like, I think it being at one point being ignorant to certain things allows you to move so like what's the word I'm looking for? So freely in what you're doing, and your intent is so pure because you don't know that much. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people, I think when you get married young, a lot of people say things like, yeah, you don't know what you want yet. But honestly, sometimes it's easier to move purely when you're trying to figure that out because you're only doing things for a pure intent. You know what I mean? You get older, you experience people, you experience life. You start to have a whole lot of decisions you make in between when I meet you to when I want to marry you versus somebody like me. You over there in that computer lab. What's up, girl? Hold up now. And 3 years later, it's like, hey, yo, like, we going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love you. You love me. What's happening? It's not a whole lot of conversations in between there. And now, don't get me wrong. That don't always pan out, the way it did for me. You know what I mean? And it doesn't always say that ignorance is the best thing. But, like, when you're young, you just have a level of innocence in relationships that can with the right mentorship and guidance and maturity, it can end up well for you. And that's
Right.
that's what I would say for me. So when you ask the question, I know I love my wife. Honestly, I think we both learn and being ignorant to the fact that, like what's it, like a love language? Like, man, we ain't thinking about that. We try to
We
make sure
having fun.
you try to make sure you happy. I'm trying to make sure I'm happy. I'm trying to make sure I keep my girlfriends to a minimum. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm doing everything that I need to do to make sure we good. You know what I'm saying? No, I was just joking.
Listen, no, ignorance is a big driver of why things sometimes work out, right? Because my wife, we just celebrated coincidentally our anniversary on Saturday, and I was like,
salute.
thank you. So I was like, yeah, we had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea, none. But if we did, I probably wouldn't have did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I knew what it entailed and the risk and what could happen, we probably wouldn't have done it. So the unknown and knowing that this has been my only experience, right, while I'm learning myself and I'm growing, it's a challenge because you don't want to be so attached to the marriage where you lose you, right? You still want to have some sense of sense of identity within it, right? But the experience that you've had growing and maturing and all that has been with this person, and it's made life a little bit easier, so to speak. I will say there are pros to it, right? There are a lot of pros to it, as well. So I'd agree with you, Keenan. I could definitely see some advantage to that, and it happening, when you're younger, for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah, because I ain't no motherfucking way.
Yeah.
I ain't lying. Because I'm gonna tell you the craziest part of what you said, and then I'm gonna be quiet for the night. This weekend, I was shooting something for somebody else, and somebody was interviewing, and they're in the restaurant industry. And the number one thing he said was the same thing we said about marriage. If he would have taken back and knew everything he knew at this point, there's no way he would have did all the restaurants on it. He never would have did it. But he said being ignorant alone and having passion allowed him to go through it, work through all his mistakes. But he said, like, if he would have saw some of the mistakes before they happened, and I give you an example. How many times do we have? I know people that I have friends, I have family members that have gone through things that when you see it, you're like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. Because you now have a reference point of something that you don't even know will be your obstacle, but it's in the back of your mind now, like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. But in reality, that might not be your path. You know what I mean? But when you have a level of ignorance and you hit that same roadblock, you're like, damn, how I get through this? For better or for worse, right? Like, oh, bro, like, what we on? And you fight through it. You fight through it. All right. I'm done now. My bad.
That was good.
Those are my topics, man. That's it for me tonight. Shout out to Princess.
Yeah, for sure. Salute to Princess. Salute to Brittany. Y'all always here in spirit, man. So, hey, look, man, appreciate everybody that's been tapping in, everybody that's been commenting, man. Continue to tap in with us. There will not be an episode the Monday afterwards because that'll be the Monday after the podcast party. You will see we got some things coming out around that. Stay tuned. Hey, man, June 1st, DC. We tearing it up. The first stop on the podcast party tour. This is Monday night, and we are the Monday Night Crew, and we are out.